welcome to Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast. I am Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
This is episode 32, a special episode. It's a Tuesday, hopefully. We got a few hours to get it out. Tuesday PST time. Eastern time, it's coming out on Wednesday. Sorry.
Yeah. But this is our Manifesto patch notes for 3.11.
Yep. So they just released the patch notes like an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, roughly. So we've had a chance to go through them. We're not doing it blind this time. Ethan's like, what, you guys aren't doing it blind this time? I'm like, no, I hated that.
That was 2 ago, wasn't it? That wasn't last time, was it?
I don't
think
remember,
we were more
but
organized
like
last time.
Didn't like it. Don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to go over the patch notes, the manifesto a little bit. I guess it's kind of, we're combining it. We'll go over how we're doing it, but just a real quick shout out to 2 new patrons this, like 2 days. Pete's and Art of War, thanks a lot for joining the crew. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the After Dark a couple of days ago. It was long, really long. It went long, but it was fun. Anyway, if you're interested in listening to the After Dark stuff, it's just another podcast we do after. We won't be doing one for today, but we do it every week that we release one, and you can find it on our Patreon. All right. Let's just hop right into it. There's no point in us talking about our week because this is kind of unfortunate. Like we normally get a whole week.
I had a great week.
We normally get a whole week to not talk, and now it's like we just talked.
Every day.
It's super annoying, right?
I don't even care.
No, I don't. Yeah, you're only here, and I'm only here because we do this together. But I don't want to know anything else.
That's right.
I just want to know.
If your kids are sick, that's nice.
Yeah, but whatever. Just take a pill, go to sleep. You'll be fine. All right, I say we just jump into it, eh?
Yeah, biggest change. One of the 2 biggest change. 3 big. There are a lot of changes.
There's a few.
You can't organize them. There's a lot. Let's start with war cries.
Yeah, so we're not going through it. If you look at the patch notes, which hopefully you do, and you should read through them, we're not going point by point. We're not even going necessarily top to bottom. We're kind of grouping them in the things we want to talk about, the things we want to talk about within the patch notes, and how it ties in with some of the manifesto stuff. So we are certainly going to miss some stuff because we don't care about it. You will, and you should read it. But to go over everything, we're not doing a 4-hour live stream where we just read through. We did that in the very second episode we ever did.
First or second patch notes.
Both of us hated it. So,
well, we're pretty sure you did too.
Everybody did.
I would like to start with a comment though. I'm really impressed with how GGG has been able to improve each league since they've been invested in by, who is it, Tencent? Is that how you pronounce it?
Chinese company. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that don't know the back ends of business and how, money flows and where it comes from, had a lot of criticisms towards their involvement with the company. But since they've invested in GGG has been able to do so much more each league with their different patch notes and the quality of life. I'm just really impressed with it. So,
do you think a lot of it's changed because of that?
I think that's a huge portion. That a lot of the quality of life stuff that we're not seeing is 100% because they have the money to hire people to do that stuff while they have their normal crew working on the normal stuff. But anyway, now these patch notes are so huge that, we can't cover it all. So
the patch notes made me more excited for this league for sure than I was originally with the announcement of it, even from the manifesto. So let's hop right into war cries because this is some of my favorite changes. I loved war cries before, they just weren't useful. Like the idea behind them was great, but I didn't find them useful. Holy crap, have they ever made them useful? I can't think of many specifically melee builds for sure, but even other builds that just don't, but that don't take advantage of them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just hop in here a little bit. I like that they rank the mobs on power. So they're, it's not based on just how many mobs anymore, which allows you to get a max amount of power from a boss. I love that. That means
it's based on rarity of the enemy as well, which is awesome.
And so to get to that max power, you're actually hitting it with a boss. I love that. So you're not, it just makes it so much better, especially like we've talked about bosses that don't have minions, or anything. It actually makes that war cry super, super effective. Were there any of them that stood out to you?
Well, I'm always thinking about the builds that I like to play. A lot of them were redone, and I'm not trying to skip over them because they all are so tempting. I just can't believe Imagine how strong. Okay, one of my favorite things about them is that they don't share cooldowns like guard skills.
Mhm.
Right. So unless you have,
But they
of
could.
course, have that notable, but
Sure.
that's an irrelevant part. That's a choice you can make on the passive tree.
Yep.
You could have 4 war cries and just go QWER and buffed, and it's crazy. And I mean, some of it might be redundant, but still, you're going to be crazy strong. And I love that they are so tempting and so powerful now that you really have to be maxed for your desired gems to not include one in a melee build.
Yeah.
So the one that really stood out for me, though, because I'm a huge fan of Righteous Fire, is Enduring Cry. It gives endurance charges, and so now in a boss battle, it'll give you your max amount of endurance charges likely, which is awesome, right? Like you mentioned,
Well, it could give you up to 4 on a boss, right? Because you're getting, you could get up to 4 endurance charges. So that's still really nice.
Yeah, yeah. You hit it twice within that time frame, and you're still maxed, right?
What is the timeline? I didn't actually pay attention. It lasts for 2 seconds. Do you remember what it was before? I didn't actually notice. So
No.
Okay.
But Enduring Cry also gives at level 20, 1900 life regen.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Yeah, I'm just wondering though, because the base duration now is 2 seconds. So you're getting 1900 life regen for 2 seconds, which is great. It's still strong. Yeah.
Even if you're just using it to get your endurance charges for whatever build you're using, which now there's a lot of ways to get charges, but now if you're just using Enduring Cry to get charges, you just, whenever you hit the button, you're also getting 1900 life in a second. So that's pretty sweet.
Yep.
What stood out to you?
Infernal Cry still looks fun just because of the popping. I love popping. I love mobs like exploding and causing other explosions and stuff. I don't know where I'd throw it into a build, but I do like it. So I'm kind of curious to see maybe how it plays out. So I have one slight concern with, can't remember what the name of the war cry is just off the top of my head, but it's the one that affects your slams. It gives you your next 4 slams are going to get they're exerted with extra damage. I feel like, well, just the way that I look at two-handed weapons, the way I play them with movement, I'm probably going with something like Leap Slam as my movement skill. And the fact that Leap Slam does damage and has now been given the slam tag, I'm a little nervous about that, because that means that I'm going to war cry, Leap Slam into a group, and of my 4, 1 just got eaten up with the Leap Slam.
And you're not going to be paying attention, so you might be wasting exerts unless you're spamming your war cry.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm a little nervous that you just all of a sudden lose. I would actually rather something that let me take all the damage off of Leap Slam or something, so that I didn't lose that charge. And not that would change anything. You just do percentage of 0 damage. I don't know how it would work, but it's Seismic Cry. That's the one. Yeah, it just makes me a little nervous that if I'm going to use Leap Slam as my movement skill, then do I want to Leap Slam, then War Cry, and then attack? You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm just kind of curious how that all plays out. And then, okay, I was literally just thinking this. I don't even know if it's possible, but it made me laugh. So Rallying Cry. If you, and now this is kind of tying in things we're going to talk about, but it all of a sudden popped into my head. So Rallying Cry is a buff that buffs your allies.
Yeah.
And this is just, again, me thinking out loud. It buffs, I think it's 3% of your attack damage is granted to your allies per 5 power, and you can do up to a max of 20 power, right? So if you had max power, you're giving 12% more damage to your allies. There's a new Imperial Maul. The Imperial Maul, the implicit that changes to it now is 10% strength. And if you were doing a minion-based build with a strength-based build with the Baron helmet, and you had a Maul, two-handed Maul that was giving you 10% strength implicit, you could be buffing your minions by a ton of damage.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you would also, because you'd hit at least 5 of your allies, which the minions are, I had to message you about that. That's a 25% more damage for your next, I think it's 4 or 5 attacks.
It's pretty sweet. As long as you're doing some good damage.
Yeah,
but
I don't know what you would tie it into, but
Spiritual Aid. Huge right there.
Yeah. I think
that's Spiritual Aid's the note on the tree where you're getting the increases and decreases to minion damage also affect you.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see how these war cries turn out. There's a bunch of other changes as well, and other war cries that we didn't touch on. Like there's a strike based one that looks awesome too. Yeah. I can't wait to play them. A lot of these changes made me go, oh man, now I kind of feel like I want to go two-hander to start the league, which I did not want to at all. So
yeah.
Was there anything else with Warcries that kind of stood out to you?
No, honestly, I could talk about them for a long time, but I'm just excited to see them in gameplay. They're all just so dramatic. I want to see how they work. They released a new video, I think it was today, and
General Cry.
it looked
Finally.
awesome. I couldn't see what was going on. I couldn't see. I'm looking for things. I'm looking for special things, and all I could see was, wow, that's a really big, bright AOE.
It looks cool because they basically in the first part of it had Earthquake tied into General's Cry. Mm-hmm. So they would kill mobs, cast the War Cry, General's Cry. It resurrects dead people.
Yeah.
They go and use Earthquake, and you just see a bunch of AOE. The one thing I will say to that, as cool as it looks, I'm not sure how useful that is. First off, it probably slows you down quite a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
In your mapping, you're stopping to summon and then waiting for them to run forward to do damage. And then in the harvest side of it, you're getting swarmed by a ton of monsters at once. Unless you could, like, I don't know, create bodies on the ground and then resurrect them. I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of fun ways to play with it. Someone will figure it out.
Yep. Yeah. And a lot of this, actually, I was like, I'm going to see how people like figure out some of these uniques and skills because they've got way more time than I do. All right, let's hop into brands. And this is an easy one for me. I hate brands, never liked brands. One of the things we're going to talk about later on with regards to some of the skill changes makes me like them even less. So brands, they're just not for me. I've tried them once and I did not like the play style. What about you?
And that was when they were a lot more buffed than they currently are. I mean, they're still strong, but now they're balanced, right? Now there's a lot more micromanagement to making them as easy, which I guess doesn't make sense, but there's a lot more that you have to do to make them function like they previously did, or a lot more investment. So that's good. That's good. I mean, it's all about balance. And before they were just way too easy to deal that much damage. So that's really my only comment towards it, though. I mean, a lot of the whole infrastructure of brands has been changed. And I mean, if you're used to brands, it sucks. But anybody that's been with GGG more than half a week knows that they're doing this in the best interest of balance. And it's going to be good.
What is the play style of brands, though? I just don't understand the play style. In the beginning, I understood that it was these brands that could bounce around and you could recall them. So all of a sudden you could pull them right to you and they're doing a ton. I don't understand now. And I guess this is just popping into the change with regards to brand recall. The fact that it's not renewing the brand anymore. Why would I recall? Like, I just don't get the play style of brands. It's not appealing to me at all. I don't like the idea of having a bunch of stuff here that's behind me that's doing damage, and then I suck it up forward, and it's not even now refreshing, which I understand why they're changing.
Well, you probably now need the extra mana cost of actually casting the skill again, too.
Right, because
there's a lot more investment for different aspects of the skill that make it worth the power you're putting into it. Before it was just overpowered for zero investment.
I'd have to watch somebody play it because I just don't get the play style. Like, is it like it's not trap style, it's not totem style, it's not self-casting. I don't get it.
It's brand style, Justin.
Is that its own thing?
Style.
That's why I don't know what it is.
It's a tag, and there's ascendancy changes to it, and there's an ascendancy change for it. And how do you say it? Hierophant. Yeah, and I mean we'll get to it, but they've redone a whole bunch of cluster jewels. So yeah, it's there. So I'm excited for the changes. I'm sorry for those that appreciated their overpoweredness, but two-handed weapons are probably one or two. Yeah.
No, I'm just going to say, before we get into a lot of this, I hope people read this stuff and accept the fact that this is just what it is. They're making changes. They're trying to balance the game. I looked after the manifesto, which is hilarious that people complained after the manifesto because there's not even real data. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't even know what you're getting nerfed with.
Even now, you know a bit with the patch notes, but it's like you said, when you kind of, some of them you need to actually see the gems to really fully understand how they're gonna play. But I saw people complaining about, this is my build and you've killed this, and I just thought, okay, so roll with it, man. Like, come up with a new build. Yeah. Play something different.
But you know what? Sometimes GGG bends, right? Like, remember when GGG long time ago tried to change how critical chance worked with power charges? The community put up a huge uproar and they reversed it.
Yeah, I don't see anything sometimes in this people think
like, no.
I don't know everything though, so who knows? Maybe there is, but yeah. I saw people complaining. I thought, oh guys, give the league a chance first. Like, if you get a week or two in and you're going, hey, this is completely broken, sure. But you just read the manifesto, for God's sake. Like, there was not a lot of data in there. Anyway.
And POE 2's around the corner. It's not like it's just going to be 4.0, right? Or GGG has very specific things in mind that they're trying to achieve. Like, not everything that we're doing is testing. Some of this is just, this is how it's going to be. And then other, some of the smaller stuff's getting tested. Anyway.
I like, one of the things I like about the new league is you try new things. Things get changed. Oh, okay. We're going to get into it again more, but good Lord, this is going to be one of the funnest, most fun. Yeah. Most fun leagues for crafting, period. It is going to be so fun for crafting. I'm really hoping that the harvest side of things really plays out the way that they've said it will, because
me too.
It looks like crafting is going to be a lot of fun this league.
It has to start well.
Has
to start well.
Yeah.
So two-handed?
Yeah. I left this one blank because this one's relatively easy for me. I love all of it. I love that they nerfed uniques, and I know people are going to hate that. There are two-handed uniques that, like, Starforce just got crushed.
Right. But you know crushed. Why? You know why they all got crushed? I didn't use it. Because the skills they interact with.
Yeah, and again, even when people read, I think it was like from 4 to 500 to 2 to 300, which is a really, really big damage decrease. I think the thing that I liked about a lot of the two-handed unique stuff is I feel like what they're pushing me towards is screw the uniques. If you find one, great, play with it. But in the meantime, try and craft one. Try and work towards crafting a two-handed rare, because they are going to be, it sounds like, the potential to be really strong.
Yeah. I don't think they ever make I wouldn't know. I don't think they ever make changes to uniques for the short term. I don't ever think that. I think that whatever changes that they're trying to do, they're doing with mechanics that they're thinking are sticking around for a long time. And so despite the fact that they are changing dramatically, it's not with the intention of them not being able to be used. You know what I mean?
Yep. I'm fine with them. I love it. I love all the new implicits on the two-handers. I love that it's all changed. I love two-handed axes right now.
Yeah.
They're going to be fun. What do you think?
My comments on two-handed, they changed the weapon bases. And this is you and I have talked about this, and I've expressed my hope for how they reduce items. And they talked about this pre-11, but this is a big hint as to, and it's actually what I really hope they do. They changed two-handed weapon bases so that all the bases have a value based on their implicits, and their implicits are specific to a playstyle. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, right now, two-handed, they said that two-handed weapons are supposed to be basically the king of damage, but dual wield is supposed to be like the king of attack speed. They're supposed to equal out in the end. And two-handed weapons with the huge damage they do slowly is supposed to be like high damage with a high risk. Now, one really cool thing about the weapon bases that I liked, I kind of wrote down kind of the difference between war staves, maces, axes, and swords. So war staves, with the varying implicits that they have crit and block chance. Some, will have the lower block chance, will have the highest crit chance, and, maces have AoE increases in their implicit, which is cool. Attacks per second, stun, increase percentage to strength, and crit. I mean, that's really cool, especially if you only have 5 item bases, but they're that dramatically different. That is so neat. Axes, their implicits now vary with attack speed, bleed, maim, and crit.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that, because when you're looking to the nodes, I mean, we haven't seen the new tree yet because we're not JSON savvy, but the nodes that existed prior to 3.11, these implicits match the type of specific things you go into. Like if you go into only axe, that only axe cluster or the only mace cluster, these implicits now kind of match the ailments, or I don't know, what would you call a stun? It's not an ailment, but you know what I mean? They match what those types of weapons are designed to do, which is awesome. Lastly, swords, their implicits now focus on accuracy, attack speed, crit, increased flat strength and or dex, and elemental damage, which surprised me, but at the same time, you need at least one of them to deal elemental damage out of that whole crew. So, because favorite skill changed, and it's awesome. It's coming.
I am so excited for maces and axes.
Yep.
Not
swords?
No.
You're always a sword guy.
Nope. No. Attacks per second, bleed, crit, area of effect, stun. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so excited to play with them.
Yep.
I am. I'm really excited to pay attention to drops. Like it's actually going to be, it's one thing that we're going to talk about actually that I brought up with regards to, was it Yeah, it was a lot of the skill changes that we're going to talk about, but this stuff plays really big into that because of some of the changes they made into skills, which we'll get into. This to me is a really big deal, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too.
Dual wielding.
It was a pretty small section.
Yep.
Yeah, but
I don't mind
a good
it.
one.
The thing is, I don't like that if you wanted to play melee, you went dual wield. There was, I want to say it was, what was it? It was before Legion. It was the league before Legion. I remember playing Cyclone and loving it, and then realizing just how much stronger it could be if you went to one-handed weapons, and it put me off so much. I was like, why? Why can I do way like insanely high damage with two one-handers versus a two? I just didn't like it. But that's just the way that it was. So so basically dual wielding no longer gives you 20% more physical attack damage. It still gives you 10% more attack speed and 15% chance to block attack hits. My thing that kind of made me laugh a little bit is they did a bit of a nerf to dual wielding for sure, at the same time that they finally made it work where if you have an MTX for a weapon, now you can actually apply the same one to both weapons. I was like, really? You waited until now? Because that drove me crazy. Hilarious. You try and like apply it to one, and all of a sudden sometimes it would work for some reason, and sometimes it wouldn't. It made me laugh.
To keep it safe, you had to buy 2 copies of it just so
this is how we'll keep the dual wielders happy.
But you know what though? It's I mean, unless they're wrong, I doubt they are. Maybe they'll make some tweaks, but removing the damage multiplier from the bonus from dual wielding just basically makes it attacks per second balanced with the slow speed of two-handed weapons, and then the one-handed weapons just on their own with shields are just kind of a nice balance in between.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I am. Yeah. I know. And then again, I think the hardest thing for me is I couldn't complain about something until I play it. You can read it as a nerf, fine, don't play it. But I guarantee you somebody's going to find ways to make dual wielding just as strong. Yeah,
people are going to dual wield like crazy. Yep. It's going to be great.
Just although why would you when you can two-hand right now? Especially with this next part.
We all know that there's always that couple archetypes that are, whether they're intentional or not, overpowered. You know, the current short-term meta, and then next league they get nerfed a little bit. So that'll be the two-handed stuff.
Dual wield's fun to play. It's been the king of melee for a very, very long time. It's time to hopefully somewhat even them out, because it is fun to play two-hander.
Yeah, I really hope this is it.
And stuns. Oh, I want to stun a boss. I want to watch a giant boss be stunned. I'm so excited. I know that there's the whole threshold, and that makes sense. You should not be able to stun lock a boss. That's not. It's a good new rule. It takes away the fun of the game. I think it's like was it 2 to 4 second immunity that they have after you do stun them? But just the fact that you can stun them is awesome. It's
2 seconds. I think it was 2 seconds for a normal boss. So what Justin's saying is, if you stun a boss, there's after you stun a boss, there's a short immunity second to other stuns, just so that you can't keep them constantly stunned. So
does that immunity start from the time they become unstunned?
I don't know if it's at the start or the end. If I remember correctly, normal bosses have a stun immunity for 2 seconds after a stun, and the big guns, 4 seconds.
I like it. I like that they can be stunned. It's like, why would you not want to hit with a giant freaking mace and know that you stunned them? I think that's fun.
It's a lot easier to stun now, they said. So that's sweet.
Yeah, the way that they worded stun, I think it wasn't in the patch notes. I think it was in the manifest. The way that they actually described the stun was interesting. Like, I don't know if you're silencing as like, it was a little weird in the way that they worded it, but I don't actually care. The idea that I can stun, give it to me.
Yep. Give it to me, baby. Good song. Do you want to sing it?
Let's go to the most boring part.
No, you don't. You don't want to sing it.
I don't.
Whatever. This is the most terrifying part for me. Okay, remember? I don't know if it was last episode or After Dark. You asked me what the most terrifying part of
it was an After Dark
guide building is, and I'm like,
no. I said, what is your biggest thing that you're scared of?
Yeah,
I was like, what is your biggest
league,
fear?
I'm terrified more than anything about ascendancy changes. The tree you can plan around no matter your ascendancy change, but all my builds revolve around the 4 major keystones or notable. What are they called? Keystones in an ascendancy? I don't know. The big nodes.
The big ones.
The big ones.
The fun ones.
Yeah. And so when they make ascendancy changes, I'm like, oh no, I'm just so terrified. I don't know how they end. Oh, God bless them. Whoever it was that today said it was a good idea to release in pictures the changes to the ascendancies before the patch
I didn't
notes.
like that. I like that yesterday they were like, "Oh, we've done changes to Chieftain," and you're like, "No!"
Oh my goodness, that's again,
awesome.
the chieftain gets another surprise, right? They're talking about changing the raider, and the chieftain gets some too. Notice how I'm saying chieftain, not
It's
chieftain.
impressive, I know.
Anyway, there were 3 ascendancies that each had 1, maybe 2 notables or keystones changed. Another one, like you mentioned, for the chieftain, the poor guy probably has an identity crisis. So the Hierophant had, if you're familiar with Hierophant, you know all the names of it. Sign of Purpose has been redesigned. It's still brand focused, but it lets you cast brands faster, and the brands themselves attack or cast faster as well. So you can cast them faster and they hit faster. Berserker, for those familiar with the terms, Warbringer.
Warbringer.
That does not look right to me. I must have spelled it wrong.
No,
Has been
right.
redesigned. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's just one of those moments. The War. Can you read it? That one's been redesigned. Can you read that one for me, please?
Yeah, Warbringer.
Yeah, that one's been redesigned.
I actually like the redesign to that one.
I really do too.
Yeah.
It's 100% specific to war cries and rage.
And it's based on how much rage you have. So if you don't have over 25 rage, it helps you get to 25 rage. And if you do have over 25 rage, then it just massively increases I think it's your damage, but it's awesome. I love it.
It just makes you rad.
Yeah. And
rad
it's about
way.
time. I know that they made some big changes for was it rage? And there's like a bunch of things that they wanted to tie into the tree now, which is awesome. Unleashed. Yep. I can't remember what the other ones were. So.
And the chieftain, it actually had 2 nodes change, but I love the change, and it actually really made me think about the future of ascendancies, and I hope they do this. So the 2 nodes, keystones, whatever they are, of the chieftain that used to be in line and only deal with endurance charges and give you perks have been redesigned. One of them has kept a focus on endurance charges, and the other one is now a focus on slam skills. And as a righteous fire character, I am in love with the new changes that they made. It makes it so much easier to make choices for RF in this one. The one nice thing, though, and this is the idea that I got from it, is it used to be that Valiko's node led to how do you say that? Tahoa? Anyway, my apologies for saying it wrong, but they used to lead into each other, and now they're completely separate. They're just 2 short branches that are 2 nodes each. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be neat? This is a total side note. I love the chieftain. I'm super excited for my build. But wouldn't it be neat if every single ascendancy didn't have major notables or keystones that led to other ones? So if you had 8 major ones, if they all just spread out from the center and you could pick any ones without the actual big travel nodes, that'd be awesome.
The crazy thing is if you look at chieftain versus like literally every other ascendancy, it looks different than almost all of them because it only has, I think there's only 1 skill that's actually now hidden behind another notable. Everything else just spaces out on its own.
There's 5 paths that only have the small node and then the big one.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing after.
I don't think there's very many that look like that.
But wouldn't that be cool if every ascendancy just had that? They all had 8 branches.
I don't mind having to I don't mind usually because they make sense. The problem with chieftain is there's like, I think at least two that are focused on totems. So it's kind of weird that those don't maybe somehow align, but anyway, yeah, it is a very unique ascendancy because there's not many that branch off like that one, or that don't branch off. I don't know how you want to word it, but
I am glad that there wasn't any major revamps to an ascendancy. It's nice to have them stay still for a while. They did some pretty big restructuring over the I don't think it was last league, but over like in the mid 3s, late 3s, they really did some big restructuring for a lot of them, and a lot of them good, but it's also terrifying.
For
as
you.
A guide rider. Yeah, for me. Of course it is. But keystones, whatever the ascendancy nodes are called, they added some major keystone revamps in this league to the normal passive tree as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm excited for it. I don't care about any of these ones. Maybe Berserker a little bit I might play around with, just because it only literally because it had a change maybe. But yeah, the other two I don't care about. I'm glad that Chieftain didn't get hammered, because maybe now you'll actually get to level on Friday.
I'm starting with Guardian, so.
Really? Oh yeah, that's right. Because you're okay. Hold on. First off, you're a friggin' build. The fact that it is hilarious how many people are like, oh, I like that, and it isn't that it's bad. It's just it's SRS.
You're jumping ahead, but dude, I am going to. So I was hanging out with somebody on Mixer the other day, and their goal, they've been practicing just going through the acts. They want to be sub 5 hours so that they can start mapping within their first night of league launch. Right. I like that. That's I'm never going to be able to do that. That's what they're practicing.
That's
and they're kind of pissed at themselves or disappointed because they're at 5 hours and 20 minutes or something. And I'm like, okay, well,
seriously, get good, guy, whoever you are.
No, they're a fantastic player. But
calm down. I'm not actually meaning
with me guard. I know you're just a prick through and through. Though, with my Guardian and SRS.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sub 3.
Okay.
Sub 3.
Are we talking like Act 1 or 2 or what?
Unfortunately for me, I'm going to be improving movement speed of my allies, but then there's a node where only my allies also get increased movement speed. So I'm actually encouraging you to go faster than me, which is quite disappointing.
Sweet. I'll take it.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if you actually play.
Were there any specific keystones while we're on the subject that interested you? You said the Berserker one?
Only because it had some changes. There are.
Yeah. Or are you talking Ascendancy still?
Yeah. Just general keystones. Good Lord. They released minutes ago. They released all of the nodes, like all of the keystones and everything. It is the longest scroll I think I've ever seen for a post from GGG. I will not go through that. There's no way. I'll figure out how I'm going to play my build and then play around with the ones that are there. But I really do like that they took. Now this is kind of twofold. I love that they took some of the timeless keystones from the timeless jewels and put them into the game not into the game, but into the actual passive tree. And the reason for that is I won't play with a timeless jewel. I played with them during the league that they came out, and they confused me probably more than anything in Path of Exile ever has. Because there's no data. There's nothing. When you actually look at it, you don't know anything until you put it in. Now, I'm probably totally wrong. There's probably some way of reading the random numbers that are on them, but I don't know how to read them. I don't like them. It's weird to me. So the fact that they're taking that's just me. The fact that they're taking some of the really cool keystones that you saw in those jewels and putting them into the tree now so you can actually play with them, I think that's awesome.
Yep.
I also though saw that because they're taking those ones out, they've added totally new ones to replace the ones they took out. I'm like, no, I don't know what they are. I didn't look into them, but so I'm really excited to play with the new keystones. I wasn't a big fan of them throwing in their, hey, we don't, there's too many passive changes to the passive tree. So here you can download the tree. I was like, what? I click on the stupid link and it's the JSON file.
Yeah, it wasn't even a picture.
I didn't even know what to do with it. I was like,
it was the same link at the top. Yeah.
That being said, I am really impressed. And this is 8:30 Pacific Standard Time, and POE Planner has already updated their tree. That's amazing.
Before now, it was like half an hour ago. It's impressive. So it was like 2 hours, an hour and a half after the actual patch notes. Good for you, POE Planner individuals.
Well, yeah, Cynicasm, he's the one that told me, thank you, because I was pissed. I was not happy. I thought they were trolling really heavily. And he's like, well, somebody said POE Planner. I pulled it up. Sure enough, they've got the ascendancies. They've got...
Perfect.
So I know what I'm doing after I get this edited.
Hey, you and I can both work on our guides.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. What do you think of keystones and...
Oh, GGG does such a good job at balancing the pros and cons of keystones. So good. Like even the old school ones, like Elemental Equilibrium, the pro and con to it is so huge that even though it's so strong, a lot of people avoid it.
I'm curious.
They don't want to deal with the...
You are right. They definitely do. It's always dependent though on where it is in the tree. That's why I'm really curious to see what it's killing me to know that POE Planner is updated right now and we're not even touching it.
I know. Well, you see, here's the thing. There are so many great ones that have such Like there was that one keystone, I forget what it's called, where it improves your life regen somehow, but it means you have 0 energy shield.
Mm.
And I thought that would be awesome for Righteous Fire. But then I started thinking, even if you have no energy shield investment on the tree, having good energy shield rolls on your gear substantially improves your Righteous Fire damage. So right away, I'm like, oh, survivability or damage, right? And then you have, what was that other node that was near the axe cluster in the southwest of the tree that I was talking? Oh, right. Oh, man. Because I'm a 1-button player. So having war cries be instant would be awesome. I don't remember which episode it was in. So for those few who don't know, instant cries don't have a cast animation. So if you were spinning Cyclone, for example, like I will be, and then you hit a war cry that's instant, it doesn't stop you cycloning.
Unless you've been stunned now.
But I like that kind of stuff.
It is nice.
Keystones are the more you have available to you, the better, because there's GGG so good at balancing the risk reward.
Yeah, a lot of them are defining for a build.
Yeah, there's an achievement for having 4 within a build, and I don't even have it yet with all my planning.
Couldn't you just select them and then get the achievement?
Sure, but I don't go out of my way for that. Anyway, I think the Keystones are awesome. Like you said, so many different changes, not going to list.
Well, and they've added a bunch now too. So it makes it's going to be really fun to play with the tree.
Mm-hmm. And in regards to the tree, GGG has revamped really the entire tree. Here, let me just kind of read what I said, because it's probably going to be better than me paraphrasing it. The tree's been substantially revamped. A lot of new skills, tags, and mechanics have been added to the game without much specific help from the tree. So now that's changed. Things like Rage, Unleash, Corpse Manipulation, War Cries, Heralds, Banners. Those were things that GGG mentioned that really haven't had support on the tree since they've been added or refashioned. So basically, another way to say it is that many clusters were very similar but spread throughout the tree, so every type of ascendancy had access to them. But now those clusters are going to be used in a specific manner, and there's going to be a lot more variety in the tree and a lot less copy and paste isn't the right word, but you know what I mean, right? There's not going to be a lot of similar clusters. So it's cool. They're definitely going to be a big reason to travel if there's something specific that's valuable for your build.
Yeah, for me, without being able to open it yet, it's really hard to say. I love when they rework them, and I'm happy this time to know about it before I start playing. Because last time I just didn't have time to pay attention to it and found out while I was leveling. I was like, wait, what happened?
Now, I'm curious how many types of clusters, like almost nothing minion was mentioned this time. Now, that's something that I always look for, but I'm curious, okay, is there redundancy in minion nodes? Is that what they're referring to? Or is it just like how mana leech works? And anyway, critical strikes, those clusters, they've basically been reduced in power all over the place. I guess crit builds just they performed too well, kind of like brands with not as much investment, and provided too much power for little investment that GGG was comfortable with.
Oh yeah, it became that was always the focus, was to focus on crit, versus now I think they're trying to even that out a bit. I looked through some of the changes in the actual patch notes and didn't see huge decreases to, like, crit multi was their big thing, was that they were going to be taking down crit multi quite a bit. I didn't see a lot of it in the patch notes, but they didn't specifically say things about the tree. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays under the tree. I feel like you can still, it's not like they're taking it away. They're just trying to make it less the only way to go. So you have a choice, which that is how it used to be. It used to be not uncommon to see a Resolute Technique build because it was strong. You don't see it as much anymore. So
did you see that they added a new core currency item?
The stupid indigo.
What's so stupid about indigo?
I don't care about the color. I don't like the oils. I don't like the oils.
Why? You get a free notable.
Okay, you get a free notable if you collect a absolute piss load of them or trade.
It's true.
You either got to get
blood.
like stupid lucky to get like some of the really hard ones, or you got to be in the trade league to buy them. So they're fine. It's a reasonable idea. It comes from a league I hated, so it probably doesn't help the fact that I don't like them because they're blight. But the idea that they added one to make it harder for me to get to those further ones, because you can trade them, right? You can trade them up. I'm not a fan of that. Why would I like them to do that?
I like it. More currency, the better. And what they've
there's
done.
There's no stash tab for it. More currency. There's no spot to put oils.
That is true. Yeah, let's
Like, give
get
me a
that one
spot for
going.
them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's coming out. I don't know.
Now, the indigo, for those that are curious, the new indigo oil is kind of a mid-tier oil, and it's pushed up the rarity of other mid-tier oils. It hasn't changed the rarity in terms of drop for the lower or the higher tier oils. It's only changed slightly the drop chance of the mid-tier oils. But because they've added a new oil, they've also added 13 new ring anointments that have been added that use the indigo oil. So that's neat. Anoint your rings.
Meh.
Whatever, Justin.
Whatever.
Just move on. Just move on.
I don't play with it. I usually like to look for something to anoint my amulet with, but half the time I'm like, oh, great. Yeah, sure. I'll just get a gold. No problem. It's always one that it's just like, not going to find that one.
All the ones that I end up looking for, I'm like, you know what? People don't really talk about this one. How much is this one? Oh, 2 gold and a something. Oh,
that's
okay.
not a problem.
Well, no, that's,
let me just trade up mine. Oh, wait. Barely made it to like the 4th tier. Yeah.
That's why I play standard. That's
no fun. So, well, thankfully in standard, you can turn off the remove only tabs now. That made me laugh.
Hey. That's cool for some. It's cool for some. If you want to try something, you don't have 10,000 tabs.
It's cool because if you were to clear out like your currency tabs, at least then you could just hide the dumb tabs that you've got that are probably useless. So that's nice.
Well, you can set them up for sale too, right? But then you can hide them.
Can you do that with a remove only?
Yeah.
Are you sure? A remove only?
Probably. Why not?
Well, because to sell them, they have to be what's the upgraded stash tab?
Yeah, you can, because I have to remember that I have to turn off the public part for standard. Otherwise I get bombarded in League.
All right, let's move on to cluster jewels. So I'm a little torn. First off,
they're core. Be excited. They're core.
Yeah, they're core. But so is the dumb mirror to get them. So I'm a little. We'll see how it goes. Act 6, I think, is when they're supposed to kick in, and then you're supposed to have a greater chance of getting cluster jewels because the delirium mirror is going to be less common.
Yep.
One thing I'm a little sad about is they are making them a little harder to craft. Like the better versions of jewels. And one thing I really, really liked about delirium was just how easy it was to craft a good cluster jewel. So I'm kind of curious to see how that plays, but I also don't want to be reliant on a cluster jewel. Like, it was really fun for delirium.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I'm going to focus as much on them on harvest. I guess it's going to depend on what they are like to craft and what they are like to drop. You know, I'm going to probably still try to build so I have something on the outside of the tree if I want to, go into one. But without it being the focus of this league, I think I'm going to try to avoid it if I can. We'll see, though. They have some, they're still fun. It is really cool because they change up the build quite a bit. What do you think of them, besides the fact that, yay, they're core?
Oh, I'm really excited that they're joining. The hard part for me as a guide writer, now that they actually are core, is, okay, do I make a passive tree that goes to level 90 and includes 1 or 2 outside gem slots? Or do I try and scrape together the required, level 70 passive tree and save 20 plus nodes for cluster jewels? That's hard because most builds, like, you need almost every node. So how do you write a guide where, you can, but you're just going to get 1,000 questions. Like, okay, I have this jewel. What should I cut?
Yeah.
But in terms of just playing by the seat of your pants, I'm crazy excited about it. The neat thing that I'm excited about once it comes to endgame is those delirium situations are spawned by, what do you call it? Stacking, I guess. Like, how much influence you're trying, not influence because that has a specific meaning, but how much investment you put into a map determines how likely a delirium situation is going to spawn in your map, which is really cool. Right? If you just put a map into your map device and go, you're not going to get one. But if you put a map device and a scarab and a sacrifice fragment, something else, you'll probably get it. Right? So it's kind of neat how I like the investment temptation that there is. I'm curious if Xanamods are considered part of that investment or not.
And my problem with it is just that they haven't changed anything with the delirium mirror side of it. So you're still in that mode of kill as much as you can,
Yeah.
kill it quickly as you can, because otherwise you have less likelihood of getting the delirium, the cluster jewels, which is one of the main reasons you're doing the delirium mirror. You know, the simulacrum's stain, and it's going to be quite rare, they said, and the rewards from it are stain, which is great, but again, much more rare because it's much more rare to get the delirium.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. We'll see how it plays out, but they literally added this one new feature to the game that's like, hey, just stop a minute and grow. We want you to hop into here, go into your grove and grow some plants. And they're taking literally the one part from the previous league that was like, hey, you need to run your ass off, kill every single thing, and then just come on back and pick up your loot. It's just so weird to me that they just don't.
It's different.
I'm not a big fan. So we'll see how that goes, though.
But at least they made cluster jewels a lot more common of a drop because the delirium encounters are much more rare. So you're basically guaranteed cluster jewels every encounter.
If you run your ass off, you're not guaranteed anything. If you can't move very quickly and you don't kill anything, right? It's going to be based off that's how they drop, is they drop from killing delirious.
Yeah, he said
monsters.
Once you're at 3 stacks, you're guaranteed one, I think is what Chris said.
Yeah, which is awesome. But 3 stacks while you're leveling, did you ever see 3 stacks? Well, I don't think they actually did that while leveling. Game. Yeah, I guess that's true.
And it could have changed.
No, but they said the whole thing was to have cluster jewels by the end of Act 10. The idea was...
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, but that damage will likely be scaled. I mean, we'll see. Yeah. Leveling is always the hardest part of the game, especially your first
in the beginning.
So we'll see. Now, not every jewel, notable and unique, made it to the core game from Delirium, and many of the jewels have been reworked to be balanced with the new changes to the game. So things that you might be used to, go back if there's specific things you're looking for. It might not be the same way that it is. It's very exciting to me, though, that GGG specifically wants cluster jewels to be a major part of character building. I like that. I like that. Like you said, it's weird not knowing what you're going to get and building around it, and maybe having only a level 70 tree that you're guaranteed and then saving 20 nodes for a cluster jewel. But
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with regretting stuff and rebuilding around a jewel. That I'm totally fine with that. I just don't like the way you're getting them.
And I couldn't believe last league when you gave me these Culling Strike and Curse jewels. Oh man, they were so perfect for my build, and I'm such a curse freak. And apparently there must have been a need for it. They added more curse and aura notables to the jewels. Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, any of the ones I get, you can have.
Sweet.
All right, let's get into skill changes. There's obviously a lot. I promise we are not going to touch all of them. It's going to be the same when we talk about the uniques.
But Justin's list is huge.
Well, I was excited about a lot of it. All right. So first off, this isn't a skill change. It's a new support, Fist of War, which is going to support slam attacks. I'm in love already. First off, not only do you get it early, I was reading like when it's supposed to be awarded, and it's relatively early on, as long as you're playing like, I don't know, Marauder, Duelist, and I don't remember what else, but so it's just more damage in AoE. Yes, please. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now they just need to add AoE increases to increased AoE support. Go on.
Anyway, I love that. Okay, so Sunder looks super fun. These are really hard. A lot of them are hard until you get to actually play with them. Like they can show me in a video what it looks like. That doesn't do anything to help me. I don't know what they've got attached to it. I have no clue. Like what level have they gotten that up to? What are they using as a weapon? So a lot of it with both Sunder and Tectonic Slam were the two that had some changes done to them. They look really fun. Sunder was always fun leveling with. It still looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to play with. Tectonic Slam, I like it. You were talking about endurance charges. I'm not sure if I like skills that use up charges. I've never really been a big fan. Now, the one thing I do like about Tectonic Slam that they changed now is it only uses one endurance charge
per
so
3 hits or 5 hits, I think. Yeah.
So depending on how you tie that in, it does look cool, but I'm not a big fan of using up charges just on a personal level. Ball Lightning is a weird one to me that they buffed it.
They buffed a lot of spells.
Yeah, and Ball Lightning, it was already strong. Now, I know that they said that a lot of the reason that it was strong is because it relied on slower projectiles. And slower projectiles was definitely nerfed in this one. So the projectiles now do not move nearly as slow as they used to. And that's from level 1 all the way up to level 20.
Oh, the speed of which. Yeah,
That's
I thought
right.
the damage got increased though for slower projectile.
No.
I thought it deals less of its less damage.
No, the only change to slower projectiles was that they don't move as slow now. And it's actually up to quite a bit faster than it was before. But the only thing that's affecting is your single target. That has no effect almost at all on clear speed, but it is going to have an effect on single target. Like when you're bossing.
How many times something can hit something.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to have a big downside to that. But the damage that was increased on Ball Lightning seemed very surprising to me because it was really strong. So I don't know. I might actually play around with Ball Lightning this league. We'll see.
That's my primary curse supplier. I love it.
Is it?
Oh yeah, Ball Lightning all the
time.
time. Damage. No, I just want it to hit lots, and it does. It's perfect.
Yeah. So brand recall. This is, again, we talked about recall, we talked about brand recall, not refreshing the brand. Again, I don't know brands. I don't like brands, but the idea that the recall doesn't refresh the brand makes me go, yeah, 100%. I'm not playing it. I will not play a brand. I don't get it. What the hell would I want to pull them to me for just to have them disappear? Because the time ran out. I just don't get it. It's not for me.
Oh, there's probably something you're missing. Maybe you should play it.
100%. No, I won't play it. And 100% there's something I'm missing. I'll watch someone play it. I'll just YouTube like, hey, here's a cool brand build. And I'll watch them play it and be like, okay, that's actually pretty awesome. Although I'm sure that I'm just guessing, just only based on what I've seen. People aren't super thrilled about some of the changes, but I don't get it because I don't play them. So that we'll see how it goes. Cyclone immunity. I texted you this when I saw it come up because it made me laugh because now we both agree this is a good change, right?
Yes, we do.
But it's probably not a change you wanted. If you could have kept it in, you'd 100% keep it in.
Yeah, but it's one of those OP things.
You can understand why.
Overpowered and you like it when you have it, but there's really no argument against it besides being a whiny baby. I'm kind of curious though, because they talked about the reason why the immunity was in there based on the out of sync issues that they had and the desyncing issues. Don't you have still a lot of that issue on console? So I'm kind of curious how that plays into a Cyclone build now on console, because I know you've said that there is a lot of lag and that out of sync. I rubber band a lot,
which is what used to happen all the time in PC. Removing the immunity to stun. I think you still keep it during Val Cyclone, but during normal Cyclone, you don't have the immunity to stun anymore.
I'm really happy with this though, because Cyclone I wouldn't be surprised if it's the most popular skill in the game. Not just from melee purposes, but also for movement. I mean, it's a channeling skill and a movement skill. Besides, technically, what's that lightning skill? Charge dash. That's technically a movement skill, but you stand still more than you're moving with that one. This one, you're permanently moving. The survivability of permanently moving, being stun immune.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And being capable of dealing damage, because it is very clearly a good melee, something that can scale well with melee damage. So to have the stun immunity is just insane. I'm excited that the meta for maybe movement skills, or the meta for, a nice, easy AoE melee skill is now going to change. It puts other channeling skills, especially if you're using them for a secondary purpose. Like for me, I use cast when damage, or I use Cyclone with cast while channeling for a lot of different things. I'm going to keep it with my builds and with the guides that use it, but I'm curious how often I'm going to be irritated with stun.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays.
I'm really excited that the overpoweredness of it is gone.
So they buffed Freezing Pulse, Fireball, Frostbolt, and Firestorm. And I was looking at that. They were all percentage changes. They are going to be so much better with leveling. And they were already good. They're going to be good end game too now. Like they're like the self-casting spells look really fun this league.
Yeah. Firestorms, oh my goodness.
Yeah. It was all buffed. They were like, at least the ones that I was looking at, I was like, wow, those are really solid. Some of the, Freezing Pulse, Fireball, and Frostbolt are 3 right away skills that you can level with, and they all start at a percentage increase right at level 1. So I'm super excited for those ones.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we got? Ground Slam. So a lot of skills, a lot of physical skills, this part confuses me a little bit. They're taking out the added physical damage, and they're now changing to increasing the added damage effectiveness for a lot of skills. Now, I know that this is a buff to physical skills, and especially end game and later into the game, it's certainly a buff. The thing that's weird to me though is when they added physical damage, one of the best reasons about them adding physical damage to skills meant that as you leveled, you were not,
You still had damage.
yeah, and melee versus spells leveling is much more difficult only because you're very, very reliant on the weapon. And the added physical to the skill made it less so. So you could go, okay, at least I don't have to every 5 levels get myself a new weapon and make sure that it's good. So I'm kind of curious how this will work, especially on the leveling side, because I feel like they've definitely leaned it back into, hey, you better replace your weapon every 5 to 10 levels, which I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. It's just hopefully maybe the new crafting system, maybe the drops or something correlates to that so that you don't feel as stuck. Because with spells, it was a joke. You literally could get a drop right in the beginning at level 6 and just ride that through for quite a long time, depending on what spell you were leveling with.
Melee's tough. You have accuracy, right? That ends up being a big deal when you get to the middle of Act 2, I think it is, while you're leveling. You're not hitting all the time. You're starting to get annoyed if you don't have investment to accuracy right away. Like you said, the physical damage right off the wall, or elemental, whichever it is. It's a big deal. That added removal, it definitely puts spells back on top for leveling. So maybe, I don't know what you would do.
I think you're right. I'm really curious what the added damage effectiveness, how that actually calculates in the game, because it was very easy for me to calculate, oh, wicked, you've added physical damage to this skill. That's easy. I don't know how added physical damage effectiveness scales.
Yeah. Well, the added effectiveness is, of course, like we've been saying, it is 100% dependent on the damage your weapon puts out. Maybe the weapon effectiveness or the damage effectiveness is just high enough that it balances out while you're leveling. Maybe the percentage is high, and the low percentage at a low gem level is high enough that it makes up for it.
It's not like it's a new stat. They've just bumped it. They've taken out the added physical damage and they've bumped the physical effectiveness. So
hopefully it's enough.
Yeah. And again, I'm hoping it doesn't feel as bad as in my head that sounds. And maybe the whole crafting side of Harvest is going to make that work. You know what I mean? That's kind of my hope. They want to put, like you said, Chris said, if you're not crafting while you're leveling, they didn't do a good job. So I'm expecting that if I want to level melee, I just count a little bit on that craft, and I'm fine with that. Totally fine. If it works, that's actually kind of fun, but we'll see how it goes.
The hard thing about that though, is when you have a league mechanic interacting with something that's staying core. So, these gems aren't sure, they might be
you're right,
scaled in a way to incorporate the new league, but the intent is these gems are sticking around whether Harvest does or not. So
we'll see. Ice Crash. Oh my goodness. I said to Ethan tonight before we started, I'm like, I hate how good it looks because it looks so good now.
They made it fill the whole screen in the demo video that we saw just before this.
Yeah, I don't like the second and third stage nerfs. Like their damage was decreased.
It's always been there though.
But it's more now.
You only care about the first. You only care about the first hit anyway.
No, you don't.
Bang, 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 bang.
I think it's Tectonic Slam. That's one of the things I didn't like about it is the fact that if you reuse it, it like stops the like flow of the damage. At least with Ice Crash that doesn't happen, but it looks good. Like frick, man, 100% physical damage now to cold.
That's the best.
Oh my
That was the hardest part about trying to make an Ice Crash build before, was getting 100% ice damage conversion. So right now, the old version of Ice Crash, despite the other changes, was a pure physical damage skill that converted 50% of its damage to cold damage.
Yep.
Now it's the same thing, but it's 100%. Now they've changed a lot of other stats, right? So now it's 100% of the physical damage is cold. So you can scale cold, or you can scale physical, and it makes it so much easier off the bat to do something effective. It means that you can use a curse and be happy with it.
Yep. I think it's going to be good. It's making me more torn for a starter for sure, because it looks better. Did you ever rewatch any of the video of it? It does not look as white and blue as it did before. So
that's exciting, because that means my trigger happy build might go Ice Crash.
Yeah. I'm excited for Ice Crash. Magma Orb. I actually like Magma Orb too.
I know, but you already made me puke for a league
Oh
because
man,
of that.
dude, more damage, more chains, and more AoE.
The
Ooh,
increase in radius as it levels is so
I
cool.
love it.
It means you don't actually have to have it or not fork, the multiple projectile maybe.
Ah, but why not? they,
Depends. If you don't want to play with me, do it.
there was I know that there was a one of the unique jewels that's specific for Magmorb that got changed. I didn't actually look into it, so I don't know how it affects it now, but Magmorb looks super fun. Val Molten Shell took a really necessary beating, but it was a huge beating.
I never knew it needed it. I use it in a lot of my builds, but it's based on cast and damage taken. It's there. I see it go off. I don't really know how much it's helping me, but obviously I'm living. I guess it needed a nerf. You're saying
100%,
you knew it needed what?
So the problem now is the problem with it before was you didn't need any what's the word, investment into armor at all to benefit from Molten Shell, from Val Molten Shell. Sorry. Because you just got a flat amount of armor given to you right off the bat. And it was a huge amount of armor, like a level 20, 1,030 armor. And then it would stack. And then you got 80% of all damage taken from hits is taken off of this buff first. So it was, the thing is that it is now is it's still very good if you're playing an armor build, because now it actually scales off percentage of your armor. So if you have high armor, you're getting a high percent, or it's like 29, 30% of your armor. That's fine though, because if you're playing a high armor build, you get the benefit out of it. So
yeah, it makes sense. It makes the other guard skills valuable.
It's too bad because it was really nice and easy to use. You used it on just cast when damage taken. Yeah. I used it, but I would just use it when I knew I was going to take, if I was fighting a boss or if something was going to happen. It was a very, very over the top, easy way of just going, nah, not going to take any damage. So I like the fact that they changed it. I can understand why they did. I think, was that one of the skills where they talked about like just literally everybody was playing with it? I think it was one of the skills they mentioned, like just everybody had it because you didn't need to put any, it was like the old cast when damage taken Immortal Call. It was just a guaranteed, hey, here's your endurance charge. We're going to take away the endurance charge and you don't take any physical damage. It was just everybody had it. So I can understand why they needed to nerf it. And again, if you're still playing an armor build, it's great. There's nothing negative about it. And then I already talked about slower projectiles. I'm not sure how I feel about that one because I always loved slower projectiles. I would swap it out even for, greater multiple if I was playing something and put it in for a boss. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to work, but we'll kind of see.
That's a good cup of coffee. Now, best news. Did you see Arctic Breath?
It looks actually pretty cool.
It's just as cool as it was when I suggested it to you for your crazy totem build, but the
name's weird.
It doesn't exist anymore. Creepy. Arctic Breath. It's the exact same skill, but it's now called Creeping Frost. Well, it's not the exact same skill. It's better, but it's now called Creeping Frost.
I'm curious why the name change.
I don't know. I didn't actually look very specifically at the difference and changes between Arctic Breath and Creeping Frost, but a couple other spells that were buffed in this two-handed league were, I think you said Fireball, Firestorm, Freezing Pulse, Frostbolt, Ice Trap and Lightning Trap, Purifying Flame, and Wave of Conviction on top of the list that you already said were buffed substantially by the increased amount of damage that they do. Archmage support, I guess, isn't something we really need to talk about a lot because they gave everybody a huge heads up prior to this that it was getting a hit. Statistically, it doesn't look like a big decrease in damage, but it's balanced now.
It needed it.
It did.
It was fine. It's fine.
And Shockwave support deals a lot more damage now too. So that's neat. An interesting change is Herald of Purity no longer adds a flat amount of damage. It gives more damage. It has a more damage multiplier to it. And that's so that builds, it impacts fast attack and slow attack melee builds the same, or physical damage builds the same way. In terms of like the same ratio, you know what I mean? You don't get a greater benefit because you're a faster attack speed with the added damage. So Herald of Purity had that. And that was it. Another shout out to Ice crash that you're hopefully going to do a league start with. That'll be exciting.
And there's tons of other skills. Like I said, we didn't go over. So if you have
So
certain
many.
ones that you like, you should check it out. But it's I like them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nerfs, there's buffs, and that's fine. That's Path of Exile.
Yeah.
It makes the league different. Otherwise, we'd be playing standard, and nobody wants to do that.
Oh, that's not true. There are at least 3 of us per platform. 3 per platform. Today, I logged in just to check something
Today
out.
doesn't count. They closed out the freaking league. Of course, people are playing standard. They got nothing else to do.
But people were still logged in. They were hanging out in the epilogue around the stash.
Poor people. They're
As
just
a standard player, I'm like, people. Yeah, look. And I'm just clicking on each of them. Do you want to be a friend? Do you want to be a friend? Do you want to be a friend? Do you want to go out for coffee? What's your name? What do you want to talk about?
This is the problem with standard people, Tyler.
That's actually what I. That's right. I scared them all away.
Freaks, just like you.
Now they're playing
kidding.
Warhammer.
Standard people who listen to us, you're just fine. You're just a little weird. All right, let's get into unique changes. Again, this is like a monster list.
Huge.
So the way that I did it, I don't know how you look through it. I scoured through it. I read every single patch note except this part. I just scrolled through to look at the uniques I cared about. I got to be honest. The only one stood out to me because the rest I was like, okay, like I got to see it in game. I got to play with it. I got to see what it's like. I can't look at that and go, oh my God, you changed from 101 to 107 to 108 to 109. Huh. How am I going to, you know what I mean? Like doesn't work for me.
That stuff that makes sense to them when they see all the background data.
And if you've done like a ton of building with like one particular unique, then it probably means more to somebody. It just.
Yeah. Like Heartbreaker.
Oh God.
That's what I interrupted you for.
The one big one that stood out to me is Fevered Mind, which was a unique jewel. It got a monster nerf. And in fact, it coupled with Archmage is it's actually a really big deal. So Fevered Mind, I don't think there was actually a cap. You could have as many as you could fit on the tree. It increased your mana cost, your skills, and increased your spell damage. They've now said you can only use one, and it's now going to be a small radius jewel based on notables around you that will give you a mana increase to your cast and spell damage.
Wonder how many places on the tree you could use that.
I don't think there's very many that would be able to equate to even maybe you could equate to one Fevered Mind, but you used to be able to stack them, which made Archmage even stronger because you were hugely increasing the cost of the mana skill, which Archmage has already been nerfed. And now you've said you can have one. It's a really big nerf to that.
We'll have to see how people try and play the old version of the Archmage.
I think you have to do it differently now, which is fine.
Well, yeah, but I'm curious to see what people do to invest in it to make it the same that it used to be. I'm curious what the change will be. For me, I mean, for those listening, the list was just so huge for uniques. We can't go through them all because this is such a big rebalancing of just core mechanics and gameplay and skills. So many of them, whether they got increased or decreased in damage, attack speed, whatever it is, it's for balance purposes. The one that stood out to me, I actually ignore uniques and I just completely skipped the section. For some reason today, I felt inclined to read not just every one, but I only read the title of each one. And if it was something that I have familiarity with, then I'd read the rest.
Uniques.
Who, you?
Me and you in After Dark that I didn't remember till I listened to it.
Of course you didn't remember it. You drank half your bumbu.
It was actually pretty funny. Anyway, go ahead.
And we should have that because you didn't get what I was saying. But the Scourge is one that stood out to me. And it's because it has it has the mod. Oh, I already referenced it and I forget. What's that notable on this tree that gives you minion damage?
Yep. You want to know the name of it? It is called
I just forget.
Righteous Army. No, it's not.
That's not what it's called.
Spiritoid.
Yes, that is it. Thank you. Second time. We'll just pretend you didn't get it wrong the first time.
I'm going to cut that part out.
It basically has...
Spiritoid. It's Spiritoid is the one you're looking for.
Oh, just right off the top of your head. The Scourge is a cool claw I think it's a claw that has spiritual aid built right into it, which gives you all the investment you've put into minion damage or reductions is also applied to you. And that used to be equal to spiritual aid in terms of that amount. Now it's 150% of minion damage value is applied to you. So that seemed pretty neat. I wouldn't mind that dropping.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, crazy list.
Yeah, there were so many.
Just control F the wiki once this
If there's a
league's been
specific
out for
unit
2 weeks.
or
Yeah.
unique you care about, yeah.
Or a certain mechanic. Yeah. Pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. Threshold jewels. I think they're cool. I think threshold jewels are really cool. While you're leveling, to see a jewel that's specific to one of your skills, I just think that's really
Why
neat.
pick certain skills though? I just like what do they draw out of a hat and they're like, you win.
I do. I mean, there are a couple hundred skills in the game, or 300. I don't know how many. So it'd be hard to include them all in campaign. But I do wish that there was a list where if you had that gem equipped, maybe it would give you, something, a list of similar gems, including the one you have equipped. Be nice to have a threshold jewel for every single one. For those that don't know what a threshold jewel is, it's just a jewel that's specific to a skill. And GGG is changing how threshold, or their intent is to change how threshold jewels work now, so that it doesn't just give that skill more damage, it actually changes how it functions. And so they took some time and redid some threshold jewels, and I'm excited.
Did you see they got rid of Glacial Hammer? Its threshold jewel?
Completely?
Yep. Gone.
Oh, the threshold jewel.
Gone.
Oh, no, I didn't.
The
skill or the jewel?
No, the jewel. The threshold jewel.
I did not.
Very weird. It's just thrown in there. It's gone. I don't know why.
Interesting. I wish every skill had one. I wonder what the zombie or the SRS threshold jewel would be. It's neat. Changing the functionality of it is a cool idea for a threshold jewel, as opposed to just simply increasing the damage, because otherwise you would just get a normal rare to increase the damage even more. Like, I really like the Frostbolt one. The Frostbolt one was really cool. I think it actually changed this league, but it just gave you more projectiles without needing to use GMP or LMP.
Yeah, but a lot of the ones that were changed this league are nerfs to the jewel to make up for the damage to the skill to make it play differently. But they're almost all a different way of it playing, but not just straight up buffs to the skill.
No, they wouldn't be buffs. They just change how the skill actually interacts. But
they used to be just straight up buffs for a lot of them.
Right. And now they're changing it so that if you want to plan around how that skill works with the threshold jewel is now basically required for the skill to function in that specific way, whatever way that would be. And then your other jewel slots are the ones that improve the damage.
I'm surprised you like them, to be honest, because you don't like ascendancies that are specific, but you're fine with a few jewels that are specific.
Yeah, but I could swap a jewel out anytime. Like, that's just how.
First off, you got to find it. It's got to drop. They're not all guaranteed to drop, right? You can buy some from, I can't remember who, but at one of the acts, but the rest are all just rare. Well, they're just drops, random drops.
I used to have one of the what was it called? Violent Dead. It doesn't exist anymore, but that one was specific to the zombie and the zombie slam. I used to actually have that one and tell people in my guide, even though you could use any gear and any items you wanted, get that one. But I was fine with that because it came as a campaign reward.
Right.
Just don't screw it up.
It's not there anymore, is it?
No, it doesn't exist anymore.
All right, Atlas changes. Let's get into it. I don't care. It's fine. I'm going to play the Atlas.
Great.
Yeah.
And they're good changes.
Well,
let's talk about it.
They're not good or bad. They're just changes. That's good. It's great. I love shift it around, move it around. I don't want to know that the Atlas is the same every league. It's boring.
Yeah.
I know we have a totally different.
I want it to stay the same.
Oh, it's so boring.
Yeah.
It's so
boring. I love this new system that isn't this league specific, but now that all maps can improve to, 14, 15, 16, something like that, I absolutely love it, because I always wanted Race Course as my favorite map. I always wanted it to be in the high tier. I wanted to play that one high once I've completely leveled. Now I can. And no matter what one your favorite one is, you can play it lots. It's awesome. So anyway, they reshuffled all the tiers of the maps as they normally do. But just as a heads up, if there are uniques for some reason that you like to farm or focus on, none of the unique maps have moved or changed tiers. They made a Cyrus improvement. Don't really know what this means, but it says improved the responsiveness of Cyrus's storms to phase transitions.
Ooh, that's important.
Well,
we don't know.
I don't know what that means. I just want it to make the fight less crappy.
Yeah.
Improve or more fun. Funner.
Mostly
they
fun.
Improved the layout. This is always a big deal to me, even though I don't play these levels. But anytime they improve a map to minimize backtracking.
It's Spider Lair.
So this one's for Spider Lair.
That had a guaranteed backtracking. And the worst part about Spider Lair is you had to guess in the beginning. And it was right or left, it wasn't always the same. but one of the ways you would actually go like half of the total distance of the other one before you were like, damn it. And then you'd have to run back and then do the other side. So
the library ones are still really bad. The library ones, or like the inside ones, and it looks like the map's full of bookshelves and
I
stuff.
don't mind those ones. I can do a right hug all the way around those. There's no backtracking.
Not all of them. I did one
them.
the other night, and I would just
go do Spider Lair again and watch how you have to guess left or right.
No. I'm fine without it. I'm fine. I'm teaching my kids that dead ends without a chest to loot should be illegal. That's what I'm trying to raise my kids with.
You're playing them in Minecraft dungeons. It's everywhere.
Oh, I know. Unrewarding dead ends. Those all game creators need to play Dark Souls to know how dead ends are supposed to work.
Yeah, you either die or get a reward.
Yeah, exactly. This one I thought was awesome. Xana can now send you on a mission to find and activate a Legion monolith.
It's cool.
I love that. But it's a master mission. It's something you're going to be doing a lot. And so the more that she gives you, I think that's awesome.
Well, it's just like one of the things that can roll on the maps that she gives you in a map, which is great.
It's like a guaranteed monolith that you don't have to pay for.
Yep.
So sweet.
Yeah, the Atlas is going to be fine. I don't have any complaints with that. So there is in addition to all of these like specific, okay, here's the skills, uniques, clusters, keystones, the skill tree, all that good stuff. There's also just like the other stuff. So
some secondary notes.
Yeah, we both kind of made some notes on them. The problem is they're kind of all over. Like they don't fit. You know what I mean? Like
just go, man.
They're awesome.
Just go.
They're awesome.
Where's that
changes.
from? Where's that from? Just go, man.
I don't know.
Just go.
What's that from?
Dumb and Dumber when they're riding the scooter. When the guy's got to go pee. Just go, man. Just go. Just start reading.
All right. So POE engine upgrades. I like this. Less crap all over the screen is my hope. I'm hoping that whole thing that he talked about is going to be in there where the game figures out how to pull down the slider. Yeah, that guy. You know, whoever that guy is.
When he was talking to Ziggy.
Yep. How they're hoping to like have the ability to pull down some of the particle effects. Anything that makes the game run better, I'm all for it. The whole screen shake thing, I was reading that and I was going, oh my God, please have a disable. And then sure enough, like the last line of them talking about the new screen shake is this can be disabled.
Mm-hmm.
I hate screen shake. I absolutely hate screen shake.
I
don't need to know I got crit.
I turned it off anyway. As soon as you enter the mines, I think it's in Act 4 as you're on your way to Piety, I think it is. I forget who it is. There's like crazy shaking. Every time I forget that, like that's every time I
turn it off each time.
Reset.
Oh, really?
No. Just every time my video card updates and everything gets reset or something.
It cracked me up again talking about it. The weapon skins being able to apply to dual wield. I thought that was hilarious on a league where they gave a bit of a kick to dual wield. Yeah. The added option to prevent other players from using the map device in your hideout. Oh, finally. But I thought there was something to that, but I was thinking about it afterwards. I'm like, no, it's actually specific to like what friends can do and what they can't do or whatever. But the fact now that you can make it so that other people coming into your hideout just can't use your map portal I think that's a really good change, especially because we've talked about Harvest and how it's going to work. And the idea that somebody could come in and completely screw over a craft that I maybe have to buy an item for or have to figure out or whatever. I'm really happy that they have the ability to turn that off. It is funny because one of the biggest complaints about this is the fact that people used to get Kadiro and maybe he had a headhunter. So they'd be buying Parandis coins to be able to do it and people would steal it. And this is a league where Parandis has been removed from Xana as one of her mods.
Oh, yeah.
Made me
That's
laugh.
funny.
It also made me laugh too. Yeah, anyway, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I actually like that because when I'm creating my hideouts, the waypoint's always that, I don't know where to put it to make it nice. You know what I mean? A lot of the times I just put it in front of my Atlas table between my stashes and crafting bench. But sometimes I accidentally click on it. It's annoying because it's always kind of a primary part for the cursor when you're playing console. So I actually normally I would like to put it under my Atlas. Under my Atlas device, it kind of looks cool. It's right on top. But then when somebody comes into your hideout on PC, they're always accidentally clicking a portal.
I've gone into people's hideouts where I'm terrified to get back to and I just type /hideout because I'm so scared to accidentally click on one of their poor portals.
So it's cool. I wonder what the restrictions are if it's friends or everybody or like what your options are.
Yeah, I don't know. Audio improved for performance. I really hope that that's actually a thing.
Whoop whoop.
I want to listen to more of Camille's music. So I'm hoping that that's actually been done in a good way. Delirium's now core, whatever. Get to run in the stupid mirrors. Okay, what is Shakarai? The god, the Pantheon? No, you're not immune to poison anymore? Oh, I'm so sad. That was literally how I could survive Al-Hazmin or whatever his name is. I want that back.
You know what? I was really impressed with this because when's the last time you saw Pantheon anything in patch notes? It's just like a nice reminder that they're no. It's nice to know that they consider most of it's pretty weak.
But hey, whoa. One of these is really strong.
Yeah, should have been. That. Yeah. But no, it's a nice reminder that they still are considering everything. You know what I mean? Even if it doesn't seem like it's getting touched very often, they haven't forgotten about the Pantheon. It's not just a weak system that they've ignored. It's weak on purpose because you can swap it.
Yeah, you're right. But you're right.
Yeah. It's nicely balanced and it's good. I mean, they had to do something once they made a poison/chaos specific conquer. So
no, it's true. Okay, did you see the betrayal changes? I really like this and hope they're pulling it into more stuff. The main thing that I read was, hey, we're going to get rid of all the stupid damaging crap after you kill a boss. Awesome. Do this to everything, please. Not just betrayal. I hate it. Yeah. If I kill a boss, take away all their crap. I don't want to die afterwards to something stupid.
They're doing it for Abyss as well. That was a specific change that they made. So the thing that Justin, just in case you didn't catch what he said, when you kill, there's a lot of boss fights in this, just random boss battles where when you kill the boss,
betrayal's
a lot of skills or summons that boss who's already dead, if they'd summoned them or put them on the ground, totems, whatever it is, they're still active and doing damage. And so what GGG's in the process of doing, it seems, is once you've killed a boss, all their skills, all their minions, they just die at the same time the boss, which is awesome.
Perfect. And they've made it now so you can quick move items into the safe house benches, which is actually nice too. It's just a quality of life thing, like the fact that I can now just control click it in. Perfect. They released all the Xana map mods. Cool. Do you care?
Cool. They're amazing. I'm going to be
How often do you ever use those?
I use the Fortune almost all the time. And this one's going to be awesome because 5 of them I'm in love with. I love any mod that just gives more enemies. So there's Breach in this one, Nemesis, Harbinger, Metamorph, Legion. Oh my goodness. There's maybe 2 that I wouldn't really care about, but wouldn't be disappointed if I got. I am, what's it called? Fortune of Favor. I am Fortune of Favoring like crazy. 3 chaos every map, hands down.
Plus Nemesis, so you're going to see more headhunters. Because it wasn't in the last league. Delirium didn't have it in there. Oh, okay. The fact that now the map icon in the stash tab will show the Atlas region. So you don't actually have to go into the map.
And hover the actual map, you can hover the
Again, folder. A lot of these are like just simple things, especially this next one. When you click the drop arrow to choose which stash tab you want, when you would click the stash tab you want, that drop down arrow would just close. It was super annoying because then you'd have to click it again. Now it stays open. I wish you could just pin it open.
That's awesome.
Just keep it open all the time.
Yeah, maybe.
Those are my favorite others. What you got?
Well, let's see. We had some dupes, which is awesome. All the improvements. They improved totem AI for certain skills, which is really good. Because some skills get cast directly from the totem, but others, like, I don't know, Desecrate, it chooses where it goes, right? So that was really good. Hexproof enemies, or Hexproof is a really cool change now. It now gives immunity to curses, but it also prevents curses being applied.
Did you hear about this? Did you hear about the big scream about this one?
Oh, what? Is it because of Headhunter?
Yeah, and I didn't even know it.
Oh, bleh.
I thought it was hilarious.
You have a Headhunter.
No, but it wasn't.
You'll be fine with 1,000 other things that you get.
I guess people were self-cursing. I don't even know how it works. Self-cursing temporal chains, which would do something. And because Hexproof wouldn't remove it, you could keep whatever this in stupidly. It was apparently it was very, very strong. And they took this out and people were like, oh, yeah, Headhunter is dead. I'm like, no, it's doing what it's supposed to do now.
Headhunter is Headhunter.
So
you get every single mod of a rare enemy that you kill. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be okay. So here, just let me read it so that it makes more sense to people because we've been kind of scattered. Hexproof now gives immunity to curses. Makes sense. But on top of preventing curses being applied. So you could, if you were immune to curses, you would still be cursed, but the effects of the curse wouldn't apply to you. So now for any type of item you have, that counts how many curses you have on you to give you a perk. Now, being hexproof means you don't even have curses applied to you. And I paraphrased what else I was going to read, so that's awesome. They updated the frames on passive skill hovers to the ones that they're going to use for Path of Exile 2.
It doesn't help. I don't know what that means, but cool.
Well, no, when you're like hovering a passive skill,
The frame
it's going to
around
show the POE 2 version.
Cool. Well, it's just the frame.
That's awesome.
It's just
it
the
just
frame.
means we're close. Yeah, but we're closer to POE 2. Come on.
Sure.
Smile
Cool.
about something.
I like it.
Our music guy added more music to the music list of hideout music options.
Yeah, I need to get that thing. I don't have it.
I'm going to pretend that this was my suggestion that they heard, but the default music for any particular hideout is now indicated. I play with my hideout music all the time, and if I really like something but I want to try something else, it never told me what I was originally playing.
Oh, really?
So I wouldn't know what to go back to.
And
and I wouldn't remember what it was or what dropped down. So I actually really like that option. I'll be really excited when console gets that. Console! Add an option to prevent. Yep, got that one. Oh, lab enchants have been redone quite a lot for your helmet based on all the different revamps of skills that we have. Most of them revolve around war cries and slams. Knockback has changed, and it's actually based on enemy size.
Makes sense.
So smaller enemies. Yeah, but that's so cool because
cool.
size doesn't matter in this game. As far as I know, size really doesn't matter. There's no hitbox area, you know what I mean? And so for size, this is the only thing I can think of where size matters. I mean, even altitude doesn't matter. I can stand on top of stairs with Righteous Fire, which I would always imagine just being flat around me, and I'm killing enemies above and below me. So this is neat.
That doesn't work for all skills, though.
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. But the base distance of an enemy is knocked back by knockback effects is now based on the enemy size. Smaller enemies are knocked farther back than larger enemies.
I hope it's really far. I hope little enemies go literally flying. Like really, really far. I hope they've increased the distance that small enemies go.
That's right. That they're ragdolling like
you like hit a skeleton, he's like God.
And they shatter. Oh, this one. Okay, so remember when we were really excited when 3.9 came out and they nerfed a little bit, especially Baron's influenced minions, when they nerfed the damage that they would do. Oh man, remember how excited? So you know what still does that until 3.11? The Chaos Snakes or whatever they're called. So here, the Man Tracker monster in Hunter influenced maps now spread their spit attacks out rather than spitting all at once. So now you're just not going to walk into 20 of them and you get 20 hits on you right away and you're insta-dead. Now it correctly categorizes an attack and will be... Oh my goodness, it didn't even categorize as an attack. So it'll be mitigated as well.
They need to do that to the same guys that are always in the temple.
Yeah, there's a few, but they're aware of it, right? I really never...
Nothing like moving in like one of the Atzoatl starting, like where you're trying to build it and the instant you move, you're like... It's like, oh, okay.
I'll just get the next one. But you know what? They're getting there. And so that's good. So I'm excited. Monsters that deal extra chaos damage now say so beneath their nameplate. So that's pretty cool. And you already mentioned Abyss, everything dying once their master dies.
Like that.
You nailed everything else. Good for you. That was an awesome one. Sweet and short.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so bugs, huge list of bugs. So awesome job fixing all those. Some of them are so obscure.
I read every one.
I mean, did you? Good for you.
Well, I just wanted to see.
Yeah.
You know, like
some of them are so obscure though. Like good for you, GGG. Focusing on the small ones, the big ones, figuring it out. Oh my goodness. I remember when I was doing, when I worked at EA, some of the repro rates for these bugs were so hard to come up with. And for a game like this that is constantly random, I can't imagine what
it's
it would
mostly
be like
because
to
your
try
bug
and fix
reports,
these things.
your slash bugs.
No, man, half of them aren't bugs. I find out afterwards. So anyway, I had a couple bug shoutouts.
Tell me.
Fixed a bug where riposte would place a mace effect if it was triggered while unarmed. And I thought this was funny because then they added, so you're using riposte, but you're unarmed, but it made a mace effect.
Just so you know, so Tyler is doing actions right now.
I am. I'm doing punches and stuff.
Yeah. Means. Yep.
Yeah, it's showing everybody else via sound that I'm not allowed to make or Justin gets angry at me. Right. You may hit like a hammer, but that does not actually make your arm a hammer.
Yay.
It's always funny when you read it and it sucks when you try and say somebody else's joke. So whatever.
It was good.
Fixed a number of cases where monster skills could potentially hit players that were not in line of sight.
That doesn't mean off screen, just a heads up.
Doesn't matter, man. Like a number of cases. Oh, I mean, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Fixed the appearance of many items on animated guardians. That's cool because that's a very high risk, high reward skill. And it's nice when you pick something and you can see it and it looks sexy. Nothing like a sexy animate guardian.
All right, Tyler.
Animated guardian. What?
I want to know your overall thoughts. We've pretty much hit most of the big points. What's your overall thoughts of 3.11 Harvest League?
Well, you know what? We actually barely talked about the league itself. We only talked about core mechanics, but I guess we did that in the previous review. My thoughts, I'm super excited. I think GGG does an excellent job with fixes, requested improvements, unrequested improvements, quality of life, like all the back-end performance improvements. And I can't, like the balance changes of all sorts. Like, look at how many uniques had to change because of this. They're not just thinking about, oh man, we got to improve two-handed weapons. There are a million things to consider. So I'm just always impressed. And like for us, patch notes, it's like Christmas. And every time I read the patch notes, I'm always humbled by my complaints that I remember that I made mid-league. Like I always just feel bad. Like, oh my goodness, like they have so much to Christmas think about. Stuff. Hey, they know Christmas is coming. So personally, from my standpoint, I'm super excited. And when these changes are applied, I always think about my guides. But all of my guides got improved with this, which is awesome. I'll have to go through the skill tree later because you said POE planner's ready. So we got to finish this up. The two things I think I'm most excited for, though, are the addition of cluster jewels, that they're a big part of the core game now, and the rework of two-handed base types. Because the rework of two-handed base types, them making the implicits valuable for all types of two-handed playstyles, means that's probably coming for wands, that's probably coming for claws, that's probably coming for body armor. You know, it's coming for every type of base type, every class of base type, I should say. So I'm excited. That I'm excited for. How about you? What are your overall thoughts?
Awesome. Let's play. That's literally it. Great. Patch notes are awesome. Stoked. This is going to give me a chance now to start like playing around with the tree. Everything we've talked about is the stuff I like. I'm ready to play. Let's go.
Yeah, man.
Friday. I have like so much work to do this week, so I'm like trying to get all of it out of the way so I can be ready to go for Friday. And then we're going to record Friday after we've had hopefully a chance to play for a bit, or we should just record while we're playing. It'll be the worst ever. But that's what we'll do. All right, what are you starting with? Are you still sticking with your plan?
Oh, are you kidding me?
My
guardian wasn't
tell
even
everybody
touched.
Again for those poor people who didn't.
Okay, so for those that aren't on Discord.
No, you said it. You said it last episode.
Oh, right. Well, I don't have a good memory, so thank you for clarifying. But I am playing a guardian that's focusing on my allies. And so I'm not doing the mana regen ones, but the ones that give more damage and onslaught and speed and AoE, that kind of stuff. The block chance one, whatever that one's called. And then I'm also going to be giving Justin frenzy charges every time I hit somebody. So that'll be nice because I'm using Cyclone. Hopefully I don't get stunned too much. Frenzy charges doesn't help my minion build, but that's fine, or all the other charges. I'm going to be using Cyclone with Castwell channeling. So again, hopefully I don't get stunned too much. SRS, and then a whole bunch of damage. And then everything else besides my auras is cast when damage taken. And it's going to be adding things like, what's it called? Summon Holy Relic. Add that with Cyclone, and I'm getting tons of life regen, but Summon Holy Relic's also going to be proccing Summon Phantasms and Feeding Frenzy. So I'm going to have lots of Phantasms out, and I'm going to have Feeding Frenzy for my SRS, and I'm going to have Herald of Purity out. Oh my goodness, it's like a surprise party with all these bonus things every time I hit a unique enemy. And oh my goodness, Justin, I have never cleared so fast.
Are you writing a guide for this one?
No.
But after?
if it is insanely productive, it would have to replace my slow-mo guide.
Yeah. Wait, your zombie one?
Which is terrifying. Yeah, because that's the first one I made.
Dang.
That's because I've been trying to make my slow-mo zombie guide energy shield so that I could collab, because I have a curse heavy vortex build, right? And it's CI energy shield. And it's almost the same, except that it's vortex instead of minions as my zombie guide, because it's curse heavy. So I have got a lot of doubling up with that. So I was trying to mix them up so that my zombie guide was pure CI. but you can't ignore the value of stun or stun immunity. So can't do it. How about you? What are you starting with? Ice Crash? Say it.
I am torn still. I got to play. It might be Ice Crash. I'm also thinking, like I told you last time, Mines, Traps. I don't know. I'm gonna have to play around with it. I feel like Ice Crash is gonna see its time in this league for sure.
Oh, well, that's level 28. You have time to think about it. Hang on, what's it called? Hang on, there's a skill in here. It's called, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Creeping Frost.
I'm not playing Creeping Frost.
Come on, do it.
Nope. That was not happening. All right, throw these out every week, so we may as well do it, even though we did it 2 or 3 days ago. What's your newbie tip of the league for the starting of the league?
Yeah. Because next one, the league will have been launched. So while you're leveling, especially if you're new, I guess this is newbie tip of the week. So hardest part about leveling your first league character is choosing between great gear that has sockets and colors that you need and links that you need, but has crappy mods, or you find a piece of gear that has really good mods that'll help you live longer, but it doesn't have the colors and links that you want. Some people prefer to see their build in action, so no matter the mods, they want all the socket colors that they want. It'll mean you die a little bit more often. And other people, they just want to live until they get to endgame, and then they'll level their gems there. So my tip is level the way that you like, that makes you smile. There isn't a wrong way to do it. If you're fine dying a little bit more because you like seeing your build go, then go for it. And if
unless you're in hardcore.
Hardcore sucks. Actually, it's not. It's very popular. But anyway, that's my thing. Level the way you want to. There's not a wrong way to do it. There's going to be people that have their opinions, but play the way that makes you smile. I'm the kind of person, I ignore mods. I just go for the socket colors and links that I want. I die a little bit more than I want to, but I have such a good time leveling. It's not a race. You have 3 months, so you'll be good. Your turn, Justin.
My newbie tip is, don't play for fun. Make sure you focus on maximizing your, I don't even know what the word would be. I have no idea what the word would be for that.
You're not fun per hour.
The most important thing is how fast you get to maps, and doesn't matter how fun it was. No, I would say play around beforehand in a brand new league. Take a look at things like POE planner, get an idea for where you're going in the tree. Mainly, when we've talked about this before, you don't know, especially if you are actually new to the game, ascendancies are not shown when you're picking your character. So I take some time to play around with that, because it is fine to re-roll and it is fine to start over, but it does kind of suck to do that if it happens because of the tree. If that's the reason that you had to restart, it does kind of suck, because there's a lot of stuff out there to help you take a look beforehand. So play around with it. I'm so excited to look at the tree right now.
We got to finish this up.
All right, so I think we're getting close to wrapping up episode 32. Just want to quickly throw out, we had a conversation in Discord about doing a private server this league. I think we gave everybody like an extra day or two to vote, but it seems like quite a few people want to do one. So we're going to do a private league this league again in the beginning of the league. Not totally sure how long we're going to run it for. It probably won't be for the full 2 months like we did last league. We'll probably cut it a little bit shorter, but we're also playing with the idea of maybe doing one at the end of the league again and doing something fun with it. So we'll chat about that in Discord with everybody and see what you guys want to do. But we are going to have a private league for Harvest. The link will be in the announcements channel in Discord. So if you're interested in it, you can click on that link and join us in a private league for Harvest. No weirdo mods, no hardcore. This is softcore. Have fun, play how you want. And we'll use global like we did last time for everybody to chat. So I think that's it. I think we pretty much wrapped up the 3.11 manifesto and patch notes. What do you think?
Oh, we forgot to talk about PvP changes.
I love that was like itty bitty section.
Oh.
Nobody cares. Yeah, we don't care.
No.
There were
if
changes.
you like PvP, thank you for listening.
Yeah, enjoy your 4 lines in the patch notes. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining us for episode 32. I have a very short window right now to edit this and get this out, and that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, we're gonna bust a nut here and get this out for you guys to listen to before we do another episode on Friday. Thanks a lot for joining us for episode 32. You guys are awesome. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
This is Forever Exiled, the Path of Exile podcast, 3.11 Manifesto and patch notes. You can find additional show notes below. We have a website, foreverexiled.com, Twitter, foreverexiled82. We have a Discord link below, a Patreon link below, and in Discord we will have the link to the private server for this upcoming Harvest League. Can't wait. Thanks for joining us, guys.
You're getting really good at that.
It's a lot
really
of practice,
good.
Ty.
You know what I'm going to be doing while you're editing?
Tell me.
POE planner.
I hate your life.
Ah, yeah.